Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap with your hosts, Chris and Deepom here. And we are reviewing Inhumans Season 1, Episode 4, Make Way for Medusa. The search for Black Bolt continues on Earth. Maximus makes a bold move to cement his status as the new ruler at Adelan. So, hey, look. I'm not going to say the same things I've been saying since we've started reviewing this show. A lot of those things still apply. So I'm just going to throw that out there now. A lot of them still apply. Should have been better. Okay. All right. All that said, probably one of the better episodes of this season. They are getting
that was a good ass episode. Like I think I was like, huh.
They're getting. You know the one thing I think they're still struggling with, and there's something I think we kind of mentioned it last week, and it's hurting the show, but I also understand why they do it because it's a short season. I feel like if they had been a longer season, they could have gotten away with not trying to show us what everybody's doing in this one episode.
Right.
Because, there was a lot of interesting things that happened. I think this is the first time I watched this with Medusa stuff still bothered the shit out of me, and Crystal stuff is still painful. But
I thought Serena Swan did really well this episode.
No, she did. There are certain... And I'll get to it later. Again, I think it was way better than the other.
There are storytelling shortcuts,
right? But I think but it goes back to what we were saying. It happens because you have a shorter season, and I think that if they had just made this episode, the Black Bolt stuff, Medusa stuff, and then the Maximus stuff, that's it. But I get why they couldn't do that because again, you're halfway through the season.
You got to move these pieces in the places you need them to be.
So you got to do it. And it's not to say that the other pieces weren't necessarily good or bad. It's just that you take away from what should have been the story in this episode. Make Way for Medusa should have been about Medusa, should have been about the Black Bolt stuff, and then Maximus stuff, because they all kind of tied together. And then you make that, because that's what Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. would have done, right? They would have made an episode where you focus on that stuff to give you the backstory you needed. Not even really backstory, but to give you the focus on these characters, because those are your three leads.
Those are your three leads, exactly.
There's three leads. You give them that story and focus on that. And again,
we'll get to the other stuff when we get there.
Right, because it wasn't like it was bad stuff. It was just stuff that wasn't. It was actually filler.
The other stuff was so much better and so much more interesting to us that we were predisposed. Like if you show me Crystal, I'm like, can we please get back to Medusa?
Right, in this case, you get to me. The Medusa stuff is still. I still feel like there is a, and again, I think it's because they're rushing through it. I'm having a hard time getting the disconnect. I'm having a hard time understanding how much she's aware of human interactions and things, and how much she's not. Because on one hand, she seems like she's very aware. On the other hand, she comes off as this. A burger. What is this? And I'm like, oh, come on. What are we? Or like how?
But also but you know what? I think you're right. You're right. They kind of overplay that some. But at the same time, when Karnak says things like, we have such limited space on Adelan and we have to make the most efficient gardening, I'm like, well, that is interesting.
No, that is like that, and that's why I said like I didn't even hate again the Karnak stuff is actually was not bad.
It was a better way to highlight the differences of the worlds.
Exactly. And again, I like this is the first time you've actually felt like the pairing Medusa and Louise together is the first time I actually give a shit about either one of the characters. But it shows you and I think that their interaction and her talking to Louise and just the way she was talking to her, that was a better way of showing the disconnect. Medusa, she's a queen, right? And she's used to just ordering people around. And Louise obviously doesn't follow orders and doesn't give a shit. So that makes that dynamic and those characters a lot better. And you can see how they put together. And that's why I was like, sometimes when some of the things he would say was like, yeah, you guys don't need to do that. You're overplaying it. You're good. Just have her, for instance, when she got the laptop and started walking, it's like, I don't need you anymore. I'm like, okay, this is just stupid. All right. Because I get that maybe she doesn't want to work with a human, but even she can judge distance. It's a fucking long way. She's not going to walk there. What the fuck is this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's so fucking stupid, and it doesn't make sense. You've been building this up and been working so well, and you have her just take the laptop, which I get. I can see her doing that, But she's gonna walk there? Come on. She could have stolen the car. That would have made more sense. Like, I don't know. It's things like that kind of throw me off. But overall, I think they did a better job of the show of handling that. And I actually enjoyed some of these pairings. Like the things that were annoying the shit out of me outside of Crystal were fine. I think they worked. Yeah. You mentioned Karnak. I think seeing Karnak, basically understand the touch of a woman now. he's no longer doing calculations like, oh, you were probably a virgin, aren't you? Because you probably talk. Karnak's a version of talking yourself out of pussy. Like, that's Karnak. Exactly. That is Karnak. He talks himself out of sex. He is a Twitter dude who was like, oh wow, yeah, you know these females. Well, see, dude, there you go.
Well, there it was.
That's how you. That's how you didn't work. That's how
you fucked up, right?
That's how you know you fucked up. And I like, who is it, Ted or whatever, the creepy dude who was like watching them in the bushes? I'm like, all right, you guys are a little heavy-handed because I know how this is gonna end.
Yes,
but at the same time, it was so funny. It
was really, really good. Really well done.
Yeah. Oh man. So I enjoyed that. I think, honestly, and this is the first time I'll say this, I think the Gorgon stuff was the first time I actually, he had the weakest stuff, next to Crystal, had the weakest stuff this season. This episode, I didn't really care about his, I'm over it. I'm over I gotta do it myself. Like, dude, come on. Dude, stop. Like, it's annoying at this point. Like, we gotta move on. Like, that's one of the ones that I'm like, hey, we have a quick season. Let's get Gorgon on page with everybody else. All right, let's get him to.
But I also think that his stuff had been better. He was kind of ahead of everyone else.
True. No, true.
He had to kind of tread water with his shit because honestly, he'd gotten the most done so far.
No, true. And again, that's where it comes down to, again, just the inconsistencies in the writing and they're having some problems. Again, I'll just say it. I really think it really makes you wonder that this show has so much potential if they had treated it like they treated Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. You give it a full season. Or not even a full season. Maybe give it 13 episodes or 16 episodes.
Give it room to breathe. Give it room to breathe.
Take your time and actually. Don't put it in IMAX. Take your time to actually make the show correctly. They could have done something here. I would have been more. I've been more willing to deal with it. But like they're stepping on themselves at this point. Like you said, I think you're right. I think pointing out that Gorgon's character was the one that's been so far ahead of everybody else that this week it felt like they had to like basically hold him back and keep him in the same place because you got to catch him up with everybody else. So and maybe it'll be different next week because I think they get everybody back together next week. So again, the show's moving. They got to.
Let's talk about that. Everyone's getting back together next week, and that makes sense, and that's fine. The device with which they decided to take the giant cow dog off the fucking board is ridiculous.
Wait, so is it? And again, I watched last episode when I was really, really tired when I got back from New York Comic Con. Was that scene in last episode? Him getting hit by the car?
It almost ended. It was like when she breaks out of Adelan. Mm-hmm. He appears in the road and gets hit by a car.
Okay, I must have just blanked out on it and I completely missed it. But
it was like a stinger. Like it was near the end. It was literally like the setup for this episode. And
got you. That's why.
The fact that just whatever. Like I get it. I even liked Gorgon's explanation of when he's tired, he's not as accurate, and so he has to rest.
Or you could have
had him resting.
You could have
get hit by a car. Like what are we doing?
Well, you could have just said he's a dog. Like that would have been like everybody needed an explanation for that. This is the one thing where everybody was saying, like even other people were saying they needed an explanation for why Lockjaw didn't teleport everybody where they needed to go. And my whole thing was because he's a dog. Like like as a dog owner, they do shit like this. Like I didn't need any more explanation. Like everybody's coming, well, sometimes he gets tired. I'm like, just say he's a dog.
Sometimes dogs don't listen to you.
You're right. Sometimes
the smartest dogs in the world. will look at you and woefully not do what you want because they don't feel like it at that moment.
What was it, last year or something like that? There was the dog show, and one of the dogs just didn't do anything. Like he wanted the
Nigga,
treat.
stop. You and I own Rottweilers. Right. Well, you and I have said things to the dog, and it's look at you and be like, "No, I'm good. Right. I'm not going to do that." But I heard you.
Right.
I want you to know that I heard you and I understood.
Right.
I'm just not going to do that shit.
Right. They definitely give you that look like, oh, I know what you want me to do, but I'm not going to do that. Are we so cool?
And the trick is, if you ask them to do the same thing while you're holding a treat, they'll do anything you say.
Right.
I would like go to the front, go to my car, unlock the door, start it up. It's cold outside. 5 seconds later, the car would be humming, and the dog would be back at my feet. Like, right. Give me the treat.
Right. So maybe that's all they really needed to do. Like, you didn't need to actually explain that Lockjaw gets tired, because it's like, well, he just gets really tired. It's like, what the fuck?
Here you go. Let's spend an episode trying to find him a treat to entice him to a treat.
That would have gotten
Crystal. Let's send Crystal and this dude into town. Go shopping for a replacement treat for Lockjaw.
That's why we and you need to write. This is why we need to write a show. Because it's like,
look, I just employed 20 extras, and I got some good B-roll in a Hawaiian town,
right?
And I got Crystal interacting with locals,
right?
Which you can do better than Medusa, because Medusa is the queen and seems to vacillate between knowing nothing and then putting a gun to someone's head and then shooting at cops. Right. So either you get it or you don't. Crystal is explicable that she wouldn't get it at all, and you can play it up heavy.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like I said, there's a better way to do that. Because then you got this weird, you get the weird scene with dude getting his ex-girlfriend, who is apparently not a vet, but like a veterinarian student, who they invite, like
potential vet.
Like she's a vet in training. Like it's very, very weird. So I don't know. There's a better way of handling that there. And you still get your not Johnny Storm, not Quicksilver, future Mr. Crystal, which you're clearly going for here, which is not. I saw this dude and I was like, yeah, okay, so you guys basically wanted to get a Quicksilver Light guy who doesn't have powers.
Yeah, I think they're going to slowly ease her to like finding the worst human being alive so that she can be okay with Pietro. God, he's miserable.
Oh, he's such a terrible dick. Oh man,
he's an asshole. He's just an asshole.
Such a fucking asshole. But yeah, and again, I'm just, what has this actress done before? Because I'm just not feeling any of her scenes. And I've seen Isabel Cornish. What has she done? She's a puberty beauty.
I'm leaning into the fact they have to write her as corny because otherwise there's no show because she becomes overpowered.
I just haven't seen her in anything else. I don't.
Neither have I. I'm just saying. Look, I don't know. Maybe they poorly cast, but I think hopefully it's just being written this way so that we can accept that she hasn't destroyed everything yet.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like I said, I don't know. It's just weird. But even then, just her delivery of the lines, they just.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
It's just. I
really enjoyed two different aspects of this episode. One was the genetic council, just talking about the Inhumans we've seen and how they're like a weaker offshoot.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that because we've seen some kick-ass powers on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I like that we've acknowledged here that we've clearly stepped up a level. Well, yeah. And I liked that. Go ahead.
No, I was like, that's actually perfect. Yeah, we needed that.
Yeah, we needed someone just to, because they've been throwing on the word Inhuman for a while on S.H.I.E.L.D., and this feels very different. That was a good way to do it. Why wouldn't you do it in the first 2 episodes? I don't know. But another thing I really loved was we left last week and the previous weeks being like, man, maybe Maximus is right. He's got some good points. And then we get to this one, it's like, oh no, Maximus, you're right. Maximus, you're right. But it's just because he's a selfish asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything
like, he's right for the wrongest of reasons. Oh no, he's not doing good. He's a selfish asshole.
Yeah, Maximus is doing all this. He just wants to get powers. Which again, it goes back to what we were saying before about we've been asking. It's like, well, how are they going to get Maximus' powers back? So it seems like I see the path now. I see how they're going to do it. Right. Declan's going to find some way of replicating, unlocking the genetic code in Inhumans. Because that's what we got from Declan, and it seems like Declan might not be a bad guy. He literally just thinks he's helping. He's just he's being used by Maximus. And Maximus is either going to go with Declan or he's going to go through the chamber again and go through Terrigenesis a second time, and he's going to go mad. and he might get his powers, but he's gonna go mad. So I think we see the end game for how we finally get Maximus the Mad. We think that we know of, which is okay. Like I think it was kind of an. I don't think you needed to do that, but it's the decision they decided to make, and I'm okay with that. I can live with that if this is how they play it out. But it, like I said, you're halfway through the season now. You're gonna have to start picking the pace up on getting some of that stuff done. But I think
we gotta move.
But I think this episode helped that. Like, you know, we talk about some of the moving things they did. Like, they're gonna have everybody back together by next week. They did a good job. This is one of the first time I feel like they've done a good job of handling, for the most part, the ensemble cast. Like I said, I would have rather them not had the other scenes in there, but not because they were bad, just because, you know, I wanted to focus on the three mains. But I get it. You had to throw that stuff in there this time, and for the most part, it worked. It did. Mortis is still an asshole, and I fucks with Mortis. Like, Mortis is my guy. Like, when
Mortis is an asshole.
Yo, when he started complaining,
Scott Summers,
huh?
Not Scott Summers.
Yeah, not Scott Summers. Yeah. Well, you know, this is, you know, honestly, I can't believe she's not watching this. This is Gail Simone's Cyclops, because it looks like he's using heat vision. Because, you know, that's her troll.
They did this like really mini crossover in the Xbox a couple years ago, and apologize for misdirecting here, but there was a version of Scott Summers, and they called him Basilisk, and he was kind of like Mortis is. I'm like, this is creepy, because he was a nihilistic asshole who was just mean to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But you can stop with the echolocation. It's a fucking island.
No, I fucking because I thought the same thing. Like, Mortis is me. He's me. Because I was like, the fuck is she doing? Like, you're in a fucking what? Stop! This is annoying. When he said that shit, I was like, thank God. So.
Somebody here wants to make some sense.
Yeah, somebody. Oh God, somebody's making some sense here. Yeah, but I do like that we now know what Declan's up to and what he's doing, and you can see where they're going with that. And yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that you then go again. It makes the first two episodes. It pissed me off about the first two episodes because they're so wasted. Because if you had done more time of seeding some of the stuff instead of wasting it on IMAX shots, we probably would have a better idea what the story is going forward here. And even if we were going to get a season 2, at this point, I think you're not. But like, it was a wasted opportunity.
I don't think it's a waste, because you can not do a season 2 and still fold these characters into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
True.
I think that you're right. I think that the IMAX thing, and I think their eyes are bigger than their stomach in the IMAX thing. I think that threw off a lot of the production. But as we settle into the back half of the season, episode 4 was my first feeling like, oh, they could actually stick this fucking lamp.
Yeah, they can actually.
It went from like a hope to I hope they pull it off to, oh, there's a clear path to pulling this off.
Yeah. I mean, at least salvaging it. I will say, going back to Louise and Medusa, I love that, because Louise really didn't know who she was talking to. So there were certain at times when she's like, "Oh, what's your name, Medusa? Oh, you're serious? But you don't have any hair." And I was like, "Oh, that's just a sore spot."
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
At first, I was like, "Don't say that. She's gonna choke you." Oh, with her hair that she doesn't. Oh, never mind.
She's still stronger and faster than you. She's still an Inhuman.
Oh, yo, which so
goes back to the hotel room.
When she goes back to the hotel room,
I'm faster than you.
She says, "I'm faster than you," and I'm watching her run. I'm going, I'm like,
you're just an asshole. You're not even here to give a little suspicious disbelief at all.
Well, no, wait. They fixed it when she jumped off the balcony and landed in the heels. Like, that was like, okay, cool. No, you got it. Okay, no, let's. Okay, all right, Superwoman.
She stuck that landing. You're like, all right, then.
You got me. But when she was talking about running, I was like, I don't know about this one here. You're kind of getting me. Then she jumped off the balcony and was like, okay, no, I got it.
All right, Your Highness.
All right. Still gotta put this hat on, but all right, we gotta do this. Talk about how incompetent the fucking cops are too. Like, how did you miss them?
How about those two people who just appeared on the sidewalk wearing them funny ass hats?
Right.
Maybe we should talk to them.
Right, right. Luis is weird. She keeps her dad's ashes in a fucking rocket ship necklace. Okay, just that's a little weird. You're a little bit of a weirdo. But yeah, doing better, doing better, and I do think. There's something I was thinking about here that after hearing getting more information about when Agent of Shield comes back, December 1st, and what they're dealing with there. I still gotta wonder. It's like I would love to have been the fly in the room and how all this stuff was pitched, because you're getting Agent of Shield and they're gonna be in space. They're gonna be dealing with the Kree. Hell, I'm gonna be honest here. And again, he might have just been joking. But when Jeff Lowe was in the room, he made a joke about the scrolls. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if you get the scroll on the fucking Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point, right? Like, how the hell do you get Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. doing all that stuff when all of that stuff is in the Inhumans wheelhouse? So part of me believes that they have to do a crossover at some point, and there has to be some kind of tie-in at the end of this season, just because, like, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be there. Like, the best stuff for the Inhumans in the comic books always involves the Kree, the Skrull, and being in space. So it just seems odd to me that there wouldn't be some kind of overlap there. But again, we'll see. Who knows? They made a lot of poor choices with Inhumans, and I would have loved to see what the idea choices were behind that, like how they decided to make some of this stuff. Like it's stabilizing and getting better, but like they could have knocked us out of the park, and I think they should have been able to. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see. You got anything else you want to say about this episode?
Nope. I think that if they've hit their stride, like I think they have, I think you're going to be very happy with the back half of the season. That said, don't do that again, Marvel. Like let's stick to what we got here. Like nothing you've done would have played super well, first two episodes wise, in IMAX. Nothing Marvel Television has done. I went and thought about this too. I was like, is there the first two episodes of any season of any show? Maybe Daredevil season 2 because we were used to Daredevil then. But beyond that, there's no two episodes that you could have. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. absolutely the fuck not.
Well, because it's not like something like when you get shows that end up doing like an IMAX release, it's something like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead, something that usually have they have these big there are these big expensive shows to begin with that are basically movies, mini movies to begin already. Like this season of Game of Thrones, they literally showed the dragons every episode. Like there's a dragon in almost every fucking episode. Like yeah, you put that in IMAX. With Walking Dead, like since they started, the zombies, like that stuff is there. Marvel, not just Marvel, all of these comic book shows. Like, look, I'm loving the Gifted right now. If they put the first two episodes of the Gifted in IMAX, I'd have been like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, it just doesn't. They're not set up for that. They're not. These shows are not built for that. For that kind of release, they're just not. They're literally network TV shows. They're not even cable TV shows. They're network TV shows, which are they're just not. They're not made for that outlet. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. Again, like you said, sometimes sometimes you look at that burger and you're like, oh no, I can definitely do the triple decker, and you're like,
going for the record today,
right? Somebody's like, hey, listen, maybe you should chill a little bit, chill a little bit, maybe not do that. So, yeah, I will say there was one thing I want to say. Another thing that they did really well, and I honestly think that, again, the way they have the shorter season, so maybe they have to spread them out this way or something. I honestly think that the flashbacks have been really, really good. Could they give you more understanding of the characters? Also, the Medusa's flashback to what happened with her and Crystal, and them talking about their parents and things like that. Like, those things have been really, really good, and they help you flesh out how these characters act with each other. And I think that spreading them out throughout the season works if this was a longer season. But since it's not, I kind of wish that all these things had been in the pilot. I kind of wish they had all been in those first two episodes that you put out there, because you have a shorter season and you're trying to sell us on this stuff. and this gives you more insight into how these characters act, and it makes sense there. You spread these things out when you're doing something like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you have a 22 episode season. But when you don't, you need to put all that stuff. You need to front load all this because it's good. Like they
front load it to make me care.
Yeah, and because you know what, you made me care about Crystal and Medusa for the first time them together when they were kids, and you put them together like that. That's when I kind of got it. Because if you think about it, here's the thing: we haven't. The other reason why you need to put that, and this will be the last thing. The other reason why you need to have those scenes there is because you didn't get enough time of the royal family together to begin with. And interacting together, so you need when your whole thing is they're all trying to get their family back, they're trying to get together, trying to find each other, and they need to be together. I'm not getting that from their adult selves because they were kind of already kind of separated. But when you show me their younger selves, I'm like, oh no, I get it. I get the struggle and the problem, the tension between Maximus and Black Bolt. I get why Crystal and Medusa are so close and why Medusa is feels so protective. Like all of that makes sense to me once I see those flashbacks. And yeah, you probably should have front loaded that stuff. So we'll see. And also, last thing, I know I said the last thing, but this is the last thing because I got to get the slander in there. How is your brother or cousin a fucking fish and you don't know how to swim?
Why would I know how to swim? He handles all swimming shit.
Like this is why the royal family's assholes.
All the swimming that needs to get done, he takes care of that.
This is why the royal family's assholes. They don't really look for the.
Now that's true.
Just fucking assholes, man. Just. Yeah. So and I wonder when Triton's coming back because he can't be fucking dead. And wouldn't that be something though if he is though?
Well, the whole show happens on the goddamn island, so I'd say sooner than later, or actually later than sooner, probably.
Yo, I would have killed for a scene with Karnak finally getting some in the ocean, and then Karnak swims up like, "Hey, little brother, what's going on? I see you, man." Like that would have been some shit. Oh man. Anyway, I'm an asshole. I think that's it, folks. Thank you guys very much for listening. We will be back. Matter of fact, next week we'll be back not just with all of our shows here, but we're also Shannon and Jeff are joining me next Saturday to talk about The Gifted because episode 3 comes out on Monday, so we'll have that on the feed. So, and then I think the week after that we'll be back with Star Trek Discovery. So, subscribe. Super Tuesday recap, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, and email us at mtrailerreviews@mtrnetwork.net. If you have comic book things you want to talk about, our mailbag episode will be recording on, I think it's the 24th, 26th. What day was that?
Yes.
I think it's the 26th. I'll make sure that is right. Actually, I think it's the 25th. 25th, that Wednesday. So we were on the 25th. So make sure you get any emails in. So that is a Wednesday. So I know people. So I should probably say, don't email us about comics that came out that day because we probably won't be able to read them. But anything before then, email us in and let us know. And if you can, try to get all emails in by the 24th. So we at least have a day to kind of go through them and stuff like that. So email us for the mailbag at mtrnetwork.net. And yeah, folks, thank you guys very much for listening. Until next time, we are out of here. Peace.